Hey Pod Fam, it's Laura,
And it's Rachel.
and welcome to the Tea with Laura and Rachel. Rachel.
Wow.
Wow, I know, I feel like we're gonna throw so many people off from
I
doing a
know.
different intro. Don't worry, we'll probably go back to the standard next week because that's just what comes out of our mouths. But we thought we would do a throwback to episode 1 where we said hey and said our names.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is that we're on I think this is episode 28.
Wow.
So it's been a hot minute. So there's definitely some people who have shown up that might have not listened to our original episode. So yeah, that's our names.
Yep,
Welcome.
now you can put those to our voices.
If you couldn't tell by the title of the show, that's who we are.
Yep.
Yep.
We try not to make up
All right.
names around here.
No, I'm hoping that my computer holds out for this episode because she is causing some issues lately and I'm very upset.
You know what? She's an older lady. She's
She
gotten a little
is.
tired. She has to take a nap
Yes.
every once in a while, but hopefully she stays with us for the next hour or so.
Hopefully she stays with us until like February when I can buy another laptop because God knows I don't want to do that at this moment in time.
It's nowadays, your computer dying or your phone dying is the same as your car blowing
Yeah,
up, you know?
if
Or
not worse.
needing an all new tires and a brake job on your car. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
It ain't cheap, and we don't like those unexpected things.
Nope. Like I'm getting to the point where I'm like about to back up my Google Drive, like just put everything on there that I have because I'm like she could go up in flames at any time.
Hey, you never know. Better be
You never
safe.
know. Well, she is like 7 years going on 8 years old now, so I think she's done pretty good. She went all the way through university with me. I definitely left it in the car a lot in the cold.
Got cold, it
Um
got hot.
Yeah, it was just, she's been a trooper. I think maybe she's just getting to the point where she's like, it's time for you to move on.
Yeah, new
Yeah.
journey, new journey.
Yeah. So that's my laptop woes. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I went kickboxing tonight and then ate
Nice.
a giant bowl of spaghetti and meatballs because I was just starving.
Ooh.
I'm really proud of myself actually at kickboxing. It's a hard workout, and just when
Mhm.
you want to stop, you're so close to the end, so you keep going.
Yeah.
But man, my body was just like, carbs, please give carbs. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it was rewarded with a big bowl of spaghetti.
Nice. Guess what we had for dinner tonight? You're going to love it. Just
Um,
take a wild guess.
Ground beef and mashed potatoes.
No, actually.
No, damn,
We
that's my
did
favorite.
actually have mashed potatoes. We had mashed potatoes the other day. But no, we both didn't want to cook tonight, so I made a heaping bowl of Kraft dinner for
That
both
was
of
guess
us.
number 2. I should have
Yeah.
known. Here I thought you
Yeah.
were being all culinary, and
No. No, no, no. No, no. I was busy watching One Tree Hill. But I learned that my partner, he puts peas in his Kraft dinner.
what?
That's what I said.
What kind of fuckery is that? I
I,
don't
I
understand. What?
So I
What?
like had some on the side to have like
Uh-huh.
vegetables,
Well, yeah,
but
that's
I like
fine, but mix them in?
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I
Even the
see, I
color
had
combination just isn't
I
right.
know. I know. And I was like eating one and I was eating some Kraft dinner and like a pea landed on the spoon that I was eating with, so I had like basically Kraft dinner with peas. And I was just like this is a weird sensation
Mhm.
because it's like I don't it's like hot and like soft and like kind of savory tasting coupled with like I don't know, even when they're hot, peas, when you, like, bite into them, they feel kinda cold
Yeah.
and, like, sweet, and I was like, "This is strange, but
Yeah.
okay, I'll go
Yeah.
with it."
I mean, I think
So
my Kraft dinner and oh, sorry, for our international listeners who are not Canadian,
mhm,
macaroni and cheese that comes in a box. That's our Katie,
and the cheese is, like,
not real cheese.
God knows what.
It's orange or orange
It's
powder.
orange.
Okay,
Yep.
this will show how Canadian I am with how I eat my Kraft dinner. I eat it with ketchup.
Exactly.
I don't think it
There's
gets
no
more
other way to
Canadian
do
than
it.
that.
Like, I mean, I like kinda go back and forth. Well, I'll have it with ketchup sometimes, and then I won't have it on other days.
Same, same. It's gotta
Yeah,
be a mood, either I'll
it
throw in
does.
some, like, old cheddar and think I'm, like,
Mhm.
having fancy Kraft dinner, even though my boyfriend, who's Italian,
Oh.
he, like, turns his nose up at it, and he hardcore judges me every time I make Kraft dinner.
Yep.
Um, but then other times I'm just like, I feel like being a little kid and having ketchup, and every time I
Mhm.
do that, it brings me back to, childhood memory when I was, like, 4 or 5, and I would go over to my friend's house, and her mother would make Kraft dinner, and we had the option of getting polka dots or stripes on our KD, and,
Oh,
like, it was always, like, such a big decision, like, how we wanted our ketchup organized onto the KD. So,
wow.
yeah, I don't know if anyone else did that, but, like, it was a
I love
serious
that.
decision for a 5-year-old.
It is.
Mhm.
It is. I don't know, there's something about food and the sensoriness of it, like, when you're little, it's a big deal.
It was huge.
It was so huge. But yeah, craft dinner, it's awesome. I'm glad that you enjoyed the gym though. I went to the gym for the first time yesterday in over a year.
Wow, good job.
So like I've been working out at home obviously, but I haven't like I used to be like a huge gym goer. Needless to say, we've got a while to go before we get back to where I was before. But looking back to last week's episode of discussing your why, I'm like, I don't really know if I want to go back to how I was before. Because it's like
Yeah.
my body feels like it's moving as it should. Like I used to, and I've definitely told you about this before, but I used to have like the most difficult time squatting.
Mhm.
Like I couldn't get my ankles to like I couldn't get that ankle flexion. I couldn't get my hips back enough. And I was like doing them yesterday and I was like, "Oh, so that's what mobility feels like."
Yeah, just from, like,
So,
all the walking and yoga you've been doing, finally your body is at,
mhm,
like, a functional,
mhm. So, yeah, I think I'll probably stick with that for a
nice.
while.
Well, good for
Yeah.
you.
And like kind of just like, still go to the gym a couple maybe twice a week or something, but not like go and lift a stupid amount, like just a little bit. Enough that I'm working, but not enough that I am a uh small Jason Momoa.
Yeah, you don't need to be as, like, on the weights as you used to be now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there you go. Perfect
Mhm.
example of how things can change.
Yep.
But what you having to drink today?
Oh, so I pulled out a new one today, and
Lovely.
it's winter spice chai latte.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good that even when I was making it this evening, my boyfriend popped his head into the kitchen and was just like, "Whatever you're making, I would like a cup too, please." And, so this one is cinnamon, nutmeg, orange peel, ginger, cardamom, cloves. So,
Lovely.
like, super spicy, and you actually don't steep it for very long because, I
Mhm.
mean, okay, like, granted, I like things really strong, but it's
Yeah.
one that really has a kick to it, especially with, like, the chunks of ginger that are in it. So, yeah, I put that in the French press, and then I topped it off with some oat milk just to make it a little bit more
Mhm.
latte-y, but I actually have had it on its own without milk, and it's still really good. Funny story about the first time I tried to make this tea, I have, like, this 1 cup teapot that pours out the bottom, so it has, like, the infuser
Mhm.
at the bottom, and I thought, like,
Yep.
"Oh, this is so smart of me. I'm gonna put the powder in here, and it'll be super strong, and I'll just try this, like, 1 cup of this tea instead of making a whole pot." Um,
Yep.
yeah, I thought it
How'd
would
that go?
dissolve a little bit more, but from all the different
Mhm.
spices that are just, like, coarsely ground, it clogged up the
Mhm.
teapot, and
Oh,
I oh god,
no.
and so this teapot that really only pours out the bottom, you can't like, it's got, like, a little lid on top, but it's not meant for pouring.
Mhm.
I'm trying to pour the tea out
Mhm.
the top, it's causing the bottom to open up, so I've got tea leaking out the bottom from, like, what can come
No.
out. And I'm, like, trying to spoon to keep, like, the ginger and all the bigger chunks in the teapot. Still, it was a mess. It
No.
was not a good situation, so I eventually ended up, like, pouring it into my French press and doing it that
Mhm.
way, and it was much more successful. So, yeah, I have not made that mistake again
Since then?
with a powdered latte mix.
Fair enough.
So, gotta keep that teapot only for the loose leaf.
Sounds like it was a tragedy, so
Oh, it was. I had tea everywhere. It was all over the kitchen counter. Anyway, what are you drinking this evening?
I am having my immunity booster tea this evening.
Mmm.
I haven't had that one on the show in a while, it feels like, so I brought it back out. And
Nice. Well,
I've
that
got
one's always a
my
good one.
it is, and I've got my little duck
Of
friend
course.
here as the tea infuser. We're having a great time. We're ready to go.
Excellent. Well, we also have one other guest with us today,
Oh, do
and
we?
that would be my cat.
Oh, hi,
She's
kitty.
she's sleeping right next to me and being a good girl, so if you hear any
Oh,
little meows, that's just her in the background. She's not scratching or tearing apart anything right now, so,
that's good.
um
It's progress.
yeah. Yeah, like, as in last time, she, like, tore down the blanket fort and,
Mhm.
tried to play with all the wires, but
Yep.
tonight she's just sleeping, so far so good.
Cute. Well, as usual, the bunny is also a guest with us. We've got our animal friends tonight. He
Good.
is also sleeping. He is flopped on his side with his little chin resting on the ground, having a little
Oh,
rest.
oh, he's so cute.
I know. So again, on Laura's side, watch out for the little mews. On my side, watch out for him literally throwing his food bowl across his cage. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about it.
No, he just likes to protest.
He does. What he's protesting, I couldn't tell you, but whatever. Here we are.
Yes.
So, this topic for this evening is a bit prevalent for at least our most recent conversations, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it seems to be coming really top of mind, between you and I, conversations we're having, but then, like, conversations we're
Mhm.
having with other people, and
Mhm.
that is social media. I feel like we might get spicy tonight.
What a hot topic.
Yeah.
What a hot topic. More specifically, the pros and cons of social media, in our opinion. So, this is just our thoughts.
Yeah, we just kinda wanted to bring to light some things that we've really noticed going around on
Yeah.
social media lately, and, like, granted, they've kinda always been there, but I find,
Yeah.
like, society is getting a little bit more aware now that we've had social media, like, in our lives for the better part of, like, 10 to 12 years. It's not so much like the Wild West how it used to be, yet
Mhm.
there's still just a culture to it, like, it's its own world that is separate from
Mhm.
our real lives, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, Rachel, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely think so because how it all started, at least with Instagram, was it was like you would maybe take a weird photo of like a stop sign and then you would add a bunch of filters on it and you would post it. And it was just a bunch of people like messing around having fun, right? At least that's how I remember it. And God knows what year. I feel old.
Yeah, like, I think I
But
got Instagram in 2012, and my first picture was,
yeah.
like, me in Texas, so, like, a
Yeah.
selfie. Actually, no, it wasn't even a selfie, my dad took the
Cute.
picture, and, I think it probably has, like, a Valencia filter on
Mhm.
it, like, it's so, sepia toned, like
It was always the Valencia filter.
oh, that was, like,
But
the only acceptable filter at the time.
yeah. But over time it really has become its own thing where, eventually it became a highlight reel
Mhm.
for people's lives that we were aware of, but then so many more functions were added into it and now like people have their whole businesses just on Instagram if we're focusing mainly on that. And like they can curate an entire life that's completely untrue and presented as fact. And that's a bit dangerous to me, if you
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, but I also think, like, for the, observers of the content,
Mhm.
um, Instagram in particular and TikTok, they have literally become the new television. Like, okay, I know we can't see our listeners right
Mhm.
now, but raise your hand if you have somehow spent hours and hours just mindlessly scrolling through all those reels on like either Instagram or TikTok, because I
Mhm.
certainly have, and I'm like, "Oh my god, where did the
Yeah.
night go?" Like, I sat
Mhm.
down after work just to chill at, like,
Yeah.
5 o'clock, and now it's, like, 7:30. Like,
Mhm.
that's that's scary, and I can't even recall anything that I've watched because it's only little short videos, like, it's crazy.
It is, and, like, hell, raise your hand if while you're literally listening to this podcast, if you're at home, you're just scrolling through Instagram
Busted.
at the same time. Busted. I'm sorry, I'm only bringing this up because I do that as well, and it's bad.
Oh my god, I'll be on the
So,
phone with someone
yep,
scrolling through Instagram, and I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with me? Why can I not invest my full attention
time.
into something?"
Yeah, it's kinda scary, and, like, a really good word that you used for it when we decided to do this episode was the metaverse.
Yes, oh my god, and that's kinda
Yeah.
what spurred this episode because, last week, Metaverse came out.
Mhm.
Zuckerberg, he launched a new world in our
Oh
world,
boy.
and, like, okay, granted, right now, it looks kinda chintzy and cheesy, in my personal opinion, but I
Mhm.
immediately thought of a Black Mirror episode
Yeah.
where I think it was the one where everyone had to spend their day riding on a bicycle to generate energy,
Yeah.
and then they would go back to their, like, little cubicle of a bedroom,
Mhm.
and they would go to, like, talent shows, but they would show up as their, like, avatar.
Mhm.
Um, Definitely it's a cool episode if anyone wants to watch it, but it was kinda scary because now in 2021, there's a metaverse that you go into as an avatar,
Yeah.
and I'm just, I just I have so many thoughts on it, oh my god. I don't
That's
even don't
scary.
even know where to start because, like, I find it absolutely terrifying because I think it devalues the human experience,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
yeah, like, I know some people are gonna say, like, "Oh, but you can, like, explore ancient ruins or, like, go into outer space and all this," but, like, it's
You're
just a
not actually
facade.
doing it.
Yeah, it's just a facade, and I think we're human beings, and we need nature, we need social interaction, we need love, we need touch. Like a
Mhm.
child, a baby will die without human touch,
Mhm.
and it scares me about where our society is going. I'm not gonna go down this rabbit hole, I promise, but
Yep.
those were just my initial thoughts on the metaverse. I don't know, it seems like a wrong turn for society because
Yeah.
instead of trying to improve the world that we physically need to live in,
You just
we're
create a new one. It's like The
we're
Matrix.
creating a new one. We're creating a new one, and the thing is, this metaverse, this perfect world where we can be whoever we like, I could be Britney Spears if I felt like it. It still needs the real world to exist.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm just worried if we get so digital with our lives, what's gonna happen to our bodies? What's gonna happen to the planet? Like, hey, who
Mhm.
knows? Maybe from a spiritual level, this is the next evolution of our souls going into different vessels. I don't think
Yeah.
so. But, like, you know, it's really scary to me.
We're about to be the prequel to WALL-E.
Oh my god, that's, like, the first thing, like, yeah, when I saw Wally, I was and then heard things about Metaverse, I was like, Pixar
We're
made a
sounding a
movie.
lot.
Um,
Yep.
they warned us about this, people. Just throwing it out there.
So did The
We've been told.
Matrix.
Yeah, The Matrix too. We've had lots of warnings. I don't know why we
Yep.
wanna steer the society this way.
Yeah, and it's actually really funny because when you first brought up the metaverse to me, I didn't actually know you were referring because 'cause I'm honestly a bit terrible with current events, sorry, friends. I didn't actually know what you were referring to. I thought that was just a word that you used
Mhm.
to describe it because everything that you're saying about the issues that this, I guess, avatar world will present to humanity, it's already happening
It is.
on Instagram. Like, it's a completely fake life on there.
Mhm. Now
So,
we're giving it a okay, physical in quotations, a physical
mhm,
embodiment. Instead
yes.
of us observing it 2D, we're gonna observe it 3D, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So,
We'll see how that unfolds. I think, we could go down this rabbit hole for a while. So why don't we just jump into what the initial pros of social media
yeah. Oh my god,
we
we
think there
totally
are?
we totally meant to start this episode off with, like,
Yeah.
pros, and I felt like we just, like, dove right into, like, we are so pissed off.
The
Anyway,
world is
we
ending.
we gave forewarning that this might be a spicy episode, so
Yes.
sorry, we'll steer it back towards the light.
Yes, we'll stop being like, "We live in a dystopian society." 'Cause there's still a lot of good things, it's fine. But anyway, let's just start off with a pro, and we'll chat about it for a bit. So I
Okay.
think number 1, foundationally, what I've always enjoyed about social media is the ability to stay connected to my friends and family, because I've been lots of different places. I've traveled around and made friends, like, all over the world, all of this stuff. There is no other way for me to stay connected to them than over text or social media. But when it comes to texting, I know you and I are very similar. I don't have very much energy to, like, entertain a bunch of different conversations.
No, definitely
So,
not over text.
no. So something that's been great for me, especially ever since I graduated from school, was just, like, DMing each other over Instagram, like, stupid little things that we send when we think of each other.
Yes, yeah, no, that's definitely something I do.
Yeah, and, like, even though it's not an ongoing conversation or we're not really connecting, it still feels a touch point of, "Oh, you're thinking of me."
Yeah, like, you still exist in my world.
Mhm. Mhm. And then just with family, like, it's honestly just nice, especially, as you get older, maybe you had cousins growing up and you have lost touch or they've moved away and such. Like, it's nice to see what's going on with them. Like, it's nice to see, did they get married? Did they have kids, etc.
Yeah, and, like, that's definitely one of the only reasons why I have Facebook still,
Yeah.
and I have contemplated, deleting it many times because I don't even remember the last time I posted on something on Facebook,
Mhm.
like, it's been years, um,
Mhm.
but my family, like, I have family that lives in Australia and, like, on the other side of Canada, so, it is nice to see pictures
Mhm.
from them, so, like you get those updates about what's going on in your life,
Mhm.
uh, that's a little bit more tangible, like, at least
Mhm.
visually than maybe having a phone call, although I still think, like, a phone call and talking to someone
Mhm.
is still a more meaningful connection, but Facebook is
Especially
that,
with
like.
FaceTime.
Yes, exactly, especially with FaceTime nowadays, but I do love seeing, pictures of my cousins with their kids, down in Australia and, out in
Mhm.
BC and that kinda stuff, and, like, my oldest brother, he is in BC, and my nephew is, 2 years old, almost 3, so
Mhm.
it is nice to have some pictures there, but really still with, like, him, FaceTime
Mhm.
is key,
Mhm.
but, yeah, that's the only reason why I hold on to Facebook, it's really more the older generation
Yeah.
because, let's face it, if we have any Gen Zers listening, they're like, "Facebook what?"
Yeah.
That's for the grandmas.
It's just like, "That's for the grandmas or my questionable aunts and uncles."
Yeah. Yeah, but then, like, with the Instagram, that's more the people I went to university with
Mhm.
or high school with and just kinda, like,
Yeah.
keeping loose tabs on their
Yeah.
life, but I can't say outside of my close, close friends, do I actually have a meaningful connection with anyone.
Yes.
Like, it's not like we're really talking, it's like, "Oh, I
Yes.
like your photo." And even on Instagram, like, I don't think I've posted anything, like, since
Ever.
last I don't even know the last time I posted. Maybe I put something up in the springtime. I'm not sure. I'm, like, awful at that kinda stuff
Mhm.
because I just, like, can't be bothered. Um,
Yeah.
but then again, I will spend hours scrolling on a reel of
Yeah.
people I don't even know, right? So, I definitely
Yeah.
use it more as entertainment than I do
Yeah.
for connecting.
I'm 100% the same. Literally, I've liked more posts that are either reels or just random strangers
Mhm.
than I have of pictures of my own friends,
Yes.
like, over the last year. Like, sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, like, I haven't liked this person's photo in a while," and I'm like, because I literally just, like, scroll past it.
Mhm.
But one thing kind of going back to that kind of loose connection, especially with, like, your school friends and stuff, about, like, kind of the was that Sydney?
Oh, that was yeah, that was her.
Oh my god, that was so cute.
She says hello.
That was so cute, I loved that. Anyway, sorry, cat aside, that was just I hope you guys heard it. It was so cute. Um, so yeah, just that kind of connecting point, I found that it's almost like just sending each other memes has become a substitute for actual communication.
Oh, memes have replaced words,
Yeah, and
especially
that's
GIFs. Like,
something.
GIFs are now just emotions.
Yeah, and it feels like, and I'm definitely guilty of this, where it feels like, "Oh, well, I send this person who was a best friend of mine in college a meme every single day, maybe like 5 of them on a
Mhm.
good day. We talk all the time." But it's just like, then you actually look at your chat and you're like, "When was the last time I actually asked you how you were doing?"
Yeah, like, do you actually know what's going on in their life, or are you
No.
guys just having, like, a laugh or whatever over a silly reel?
Or even sometimes you just like it and you don't even look at it.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing that's come up for me recently is I'm just kind of there and I'm just like, if I stopped sending these to you, would we communicate at all? Or has friendship just turned into kind of a transactional, here's something to laugh at. We don't actually ever need to have a conversation or be in the same room though. Like it
Mhm.
feels like a substitution for actual face to face communication, which I think is just increasing the problem that already exists where we are so isolated.
Yeah, it's almost like it's creating a new acquaintance, right? Like, a
Yeah.
new definition of an acquaintance, because you're not actually, like, being friends,
Mhm.
you're not connecting on an emotional level. It's just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, you're, like, kind of in this circle of this part of my
Mhm.
life, but, like, don't really know anything
Yeah.
about you."
I do definitely agree with that, but as well, it feels like there's already an issue where people are isolated and they aren't feeling as connected
Mhm.
with each other, and like mental health issues are on the rise and such, where it feels like that just replacing friendships with just memes as the form of communication is just causing that problem to get worse,
Yeah.
because it's like, even somebody could be right in front of you that could be a new friend, but you're getting so lost in these reels and just sending it to people that you don't even see, that like you're going more and more inward.
Right.
Does that
Right.
make
No.
sense?
No, I absolutely agree with that. Like, it's just it's false communication.
Yeah. It's the illusion of communication.
Yes, yeah, it's an illusion.
So,
So, Rachel, like, how do you think we should combat this? Do we just accept that we now have acquaintances where there's this illusion? Or do we consciously try and, like, have a conversation over Messenger? Do you think it depends on the person, and we have to decide, like, okay, is this actually someone I want to have meaningful communication with?
mhm.
Or do I just accept that, like, okay, maybe we're not, like, really friends, we just kinda, like, have a little thing going back and forth with memes?
I think that it's a combination of your last 2 points where it depends on the person, and then you also have to acknowledge when that's just what that kind of friendship is like, and that's their way of maintaining it. Because I know, like, for us, I mean, we talk all the time. I don't know if we could ever get away with just sending each other memes, but that wouldn't work for our friendship. Like, we
No.
wouldn't be able to maintain the relationship that we have, where I have other friends who, I don't necessarily know how to connect with them anymore because,
Mhm.
like, we've just gone such different ways, but I still care about them.
Yeah.
So in that case, it's a nice thing where I
Mhm.
still feel connected to them, but it's not added stress of having to figure out what to talk to them about.
So maybe, like, you're recognizing that, like, okay, this is kind of what, like, all it is
Mhm.
for this
Yeah.
time period. Like, maybe it either like, you grow apart even more, or, it's just kind
Mhm.
of a placeholder, and then when it's more convenient, or you live closer, or you're on the
Yeah.
same stage of life, then it's just like, "Oh, okay, like, now we can open up that channel of meaningful conversation because we're on the same page again." So, I don't know. I think there's many ways
Mhm.
to think about this. Like, I'd love to know what our listeners think about this. If they agree, maybe
Yeah.
treating it as a placeholder, or accepting that that's all this is, or, like, you're recognizing, like, "Wow, I do that with a lot of people."
Mhm.
Do I keep or cut?
Yeah, well, I think, at least I'm kinda sick of that kind of communication because it
Mhm.
doesn't feel like communicating. So, maybe a good test is stop doing it, because if you keep doing it, they're going to keep doing it back. So it's just a never ending cycle where, maybe if you're trying to figure out who to cut, not who to cut, that sounds really bad, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I know it sounds way more blunt than how I like, how it's coming off.
Yeah, like if you're trying to figure out where you need to channel energy, maybe stop just sending the memes and, try to strike up a conversation. And then it's up to that other person whether or not they're going to engage with you in that way. If it's important enough for you with your acquaintances and friends, you just communicate in a meaningful way through a conversation, then okay, maybe that's not the right person to give energy to.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, we're bringing in the friends.
Oh, man.
We're bringing in losing friends.
It really just comes back to friendship, like, every episode, but hey,
I know.
friends are important in your life. So I think we've discussed this one as far as we can
Yes.
tonight. If our listeners have input, I definitely share that with us because I
Mhm.
feel like any of these like things that we're talking about tonight, like there are just so many opinions and point of views
Mhm.
that it's such a personal decision
Yeah.
about how you need to approach it and how you treat these things. So
Mhm.
let's kind of move on to that classic, false impression of who someone is.
I
I
have
think
so much to
I
say.
know you do. Let's try and talk about a pro. And
Okay.
I know this is going to be so tough because let's think of a beautiful thing that we've already talked about that Instagram is for. It's keeping people up to date on your life.
Yes.
Especially for the ones who live far away. We're not going to get into the whole like influencer thing just yet, but
That's coming later.
yeah, but really it's now this thing of just like my partner and I just got married. We just bought a house. We just
Mhm.
had kids. Like it is that nice thing where you can keep in touch. I was actually visiting one of my oldest friends last weekend
Mhm.
and we were talking about people from high school and elementary school. And we kind of had little checkpoints because of Facebook and Instagram.
Mhm.
And so that was kind of nice. And then through that, we've like been like, oh, well, I actually did talk to so and so, or I did see them on the street the other day, and this
Yeah.
is how they're doing.
Yeah.
So that I'm going to say is a pro.
Mhm.
Where it's taken a dark, dark turn is creating again the illusion of how you want to show your life. And
Yeah.
okay, one movie that's coming up for me, I think it's called Remy and Rami's like high school reunion or something.
Okay.
The movie I'm talking about, I gotta look this up.
I don't, but like I
Hang
I
on,
can probably get the gist of it.
I got this. Rami and Michelle. Sorry, Rami and Michelle's high school reunion.
Okay.
Hilarious movie. It's Lisa Kudrow and Myra Sorvino,
Mhm.
and it's two girls. Like they were kind of like the odd ones in high school, but like just the best of friends.
Mhm.
And they have to go back to their like high school reunion, but they want to
Mhm.
show like how successful they are, so they kind of like create a facade
Yeah.
of being like businesswomen and like super wealthy and all that kind of stuff to hopefully get like the past popular kids to like them and think like they've done
Yeah.
so well.
Mhm.
But really it was all a facade. And I
Yeah.
find that influencers aside, this has kind of become the new thing on social media.
Mhm. No, I agree. I think because there's always that thing going around that social media is a highlight reel,
Yes, you
which
don't
it
see
is.
people's dark days. Now, granted, there are more people getting on their live stream or whatever it's called when they're having their dark moments and trying to
Mhm.
share that realism. But for the majority, I think we've said it before on a different
Mhm.
episode. Like, you might be seeing someone with like their super cute partner and they're like out for a picnic in a park
Yeah.
and it just looks so romantic and they're like, wow, that person has like a perfect relationship where like mine is maybe not so perfect. Like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And the thing is, you probably didn't see them fighting over the kind of sandwiches they were going to make,
Yeah.
right? Like, so yeah, you're just seeing a highlight reel. You don't actually see
Mhm.
like the bad side of that.
Yeah. And then where my extended issue with this comes in is I was getting real fired up about this today, but have you seen those posts going around where because, like, my problem with the highlight reel is when it is a blatant lie
Mhm.
or there's lying within it. So have
Yes.
you seen those posts going around where it's, like, girls, being like, "Oh, just a reminder that social media is often fake," and they're showing, basically what the non-edited photo would look like?
Oh, yeah, like, with the filter and without the filter, and, like, if you put the pictures side by
Oh.
side, they don't even look like the same person.
Oh, not even that, like, they're editing their hair
Oh god.
so that their hair is thicker, or maybe their hair is a completely different style than what the original picture was taken as, and it feels so disconnected. I understand I respect the posts, but it feels so disconnected, like, the message they're trying to put across, because
Yes.
I'm like, "If it's fake, why are you posting it in the first place?"
Yeah.
Because the original photos are beautiful.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the original photos, like, yeah, sure, maybe you have, like, an acne spot or a
Mhm.
wrinkle, like, God forbid you have a crow's feet, um, but, yeah, like, if you're trying to be this, like, hero showing, like, "This is what I look like without filters," why aren't you making all your content without filters?
Exactly.
Right? Like, if you
And
wanna
that's
be
my
a
big
hero, get rid of the filters and be like, "Hey, I'm a real person. When I sit down,
Yes.
I have a tummy roll." Right?
Yes.
Like
And that is foundationally my biggest problem with this is I'm all about the highlight reel if that's what you wanna post, but make it real.
yeah.
Yeah, like, it just feels like you know what I'm saying.
No, I totally do. It's so fake.
And it's just like there's so much knowledge about how or at least there's been so much research done and information coming out about how damaging that can be to people's mental health, especially teenagers, with
Oh, you
just the
know what?
compare
I've noticed it damaging to my own mental health.
Oh, yeah, and, like, we're adults,
Yeah. And we still
so
struggle to decipher about what is real and what is not. So I don't even
yeah.
think it matters how old you are, especially now,
Mhm.
like, as people are growing up within this world, like, we
Yeah,
still grew up when, you had to go take your film to get developed.
yeah.
Um, but now it's just like some kids have only ever
Mhm.
known filters.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to accept who you are,
Mhm.
if you have acne or, I don't know, psoriasis or, maybe you just don't think you're that pretty.
Yeah.
Um, you're only ever gonna know this facade
Mhm.
and probably forever carry around a bit of a self-esteem issue, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's my biggest issue when posts like that exist that is acknowledging that it's fake,
Yes.
and it's just like, "Okay, but I think we're all aware at this point about the impact this has on people. If you are brave enough to acknowledge that it's fake, why put it out there?"
Yeah, why keep putting the fake out? Like, you're already
Yes.
out, you've already showed people what you actually look like in real life, you know?
Yeah, like,
Might as
just
well
post
just
that
carry
photo.
on.
Yeah, and then another one that I've been seeing too is, like, a filter where it's like, um, "This filter is supposed to show what your face would look like if it was perfect."
Oh my god.
And you're just like,
I hate that, like, oh god.
"Why does this exist?"
Yeah, why? Because obviously when that filter turns off or you look at yourself in the mirror, you're gonna be like, "Wow, I'm so not perfect."
Yeah,
And there's, like, another one where it's just, like, I don't know, it puts a line down the middle of your face to see, like, how symmetric your face is, and it, like,
yeah,
swaps your face around, and
yeah.
I'm just like, "Okay, majority of people do not have a symmetric face, and it's okay." You know?
Literally
It's
most
fine.
most people.
Pretty sure, like,
So,
99.9% do do not have a symmetrical face.
yeah.
And the other one, like, there's just can we just take a moment to point out, like, how advanced filters have become, especially since
Oh,
the
it's
dawn of
crazy.
TikTok? Because there is one, and I put it on my face, and it was just like it literally changed your gender. So, like, if
Mhm,
you were a girl, like, it would be like, "This is what you look like as a man," and,
mhm,
vice versa, and I think the meme was, like, "If you find yourself attractive as a male, you're good
mhm.
looking or something." Like, I don't know, it was
Oh
something, like, really
god.
funny. It was
I've
something
seen that one,
ridiculous.
I've seen
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, so I put the filter on, I was just like, "Damn, I'd date me."
I love it. But,
But it's so
yeah, I
ridiculous that, like, cameras can literally do this now. They can change your gender, like so essentially, let's just be hypothetical. You could have a whole like, I could have a whole Instagram account as a man, and no
And
one
you
would
wouldn't
know.
know.
No one would know. I could be like Laurent from France, you know? Like, I don't
Oh
know.
my god.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
So I think in summary what I'm trying to say is it feels like and again, this is kind of like our millennial episode. Like I don't know what the solution is for this, but it feels like for some reason the more educated we get about the damages of social media, the worse it gets. It's like it's kind of going in a V shape where we're learning so much more and then people are like, yeah, social media is fake, but like I'm still going to post these things and if you use this filter your face will be perfect.
Yeah, and I
Like,
think, like, it's come so far in the past 10 years where, like,
yeah.
before when we started this episode, Valencia was the sexy filter
Yeah.
to use on Instagram. Now, like, you barely use those filters. You've got presets, you've
Mhm.
got airbrushing and Photoshop, and you have a filter.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't even need to put makeup on anymore to take a picture because you just slap a filter on. You're like, "Oh, look at that. I'm all done up for the day."
Mhm. Pretty
So,
much.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. I think the only
any
advice we can give is just, like, if you wanna be change, put the real you out
yeah.
there. And, there's nothing wrong with, like, making sure you're posing nicely or, like, in good lighting. I don't think
Yeah.
there's anything wrong with that. It's just,
No.
like, if you're continuously putting out this false image though, oh god, okay,
Like
I'm
don't
gonna get hate for this, but, like, you're part of the problem. I'm sorry, but you
yeah.
are part of the problem
Like don't
if that's your
Photoshop your
whole image
hair.
online. Don't Photoshop your hair, like,
You don't need to.
no.
So, no, I agree with you and I think as well just it is hard as a consumer of social media. Just continue, I know it's hard, but just continue to remind yourself like if you took away the lighting, if you took away the filter whether there is or isn't one, and you took away the weird angle that this person's posing at, like it's not real.
Mhm. Like, if
It's
you
just
pass them
good
in the
angles.
street yeah, if you pass them in the street, you could follow this person every day and, like, you might not even recognize them if they were your
Yeah.
neighbor.
So just yeah, like just remind yourself like it's really no reflection on who you are as a person or your worth. It's just a person out
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, it's just a
So,
facade. So, be real,
yeah.
people, be real, because I think that's how we can change it, is just being like, "No, this is how I really look, and it's okay."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And remember when there are certain things where you're like that is not actually naturally possible. That's also
No,
good to
no, like, if
remember.
it looks like someone's missing some ribs, that's
They
Photoshop.
probably are.
It's Photoshop
Yeah. The ribs were
because
photoshopped out.
yeah, we all got a little cellulite, we all got some rolls, it's fine.
Yeah.
You
It's
can have
fine.
six-pack, and when you sit down, guess what? You have a roll. It's how the body
Yeah.
works.
Yep. If you wanna go back and check out our, reality check on body positivity episode, we will talk all about that.
Ooh, yeah, that's a
So,
good one. Anyway, let's move on, Rachel. Let's focus a
okay.
little bit more. So we've kinda, like, now ventured into a little bit the influencer because let's face it, like, those are the main people who are using filters and presets and
Mhm.
really creating that false life because they have followers, right? Like that is essentially their business.
Mhm.
And I think that's fine. Like Instagram has become a source of income for people. There's nothing wrong with
Yep.
that.
Nope.
That's just another side business and it's a new thing. It's just like how when researchers ask children what they want to be when they grow up, an
Yeah.
Instagrammer and a YouTuber are like real things that people say that they want to be when they grow up. It's just a
That's
new industry.
fascinating.
Yeah, no, it's just a new thing. It's just how like we wanted to be, you know, firefighters and police
Yeah.
officers and doctors when we were kids. This is just part of it. This is just where our world has gone. Um,
Mhm.
but what I really struggle with, and it kind of goes in hand with like all the filters and stuff, but
Mhm.
really it's that false image of people's like financial situations
Huh.
and like hustle culture and business that is all being
Yeah.
promoted. And I guess how I can really like sum this up that like I really disagree with is all of the false motivation that are just
Yeah.
awful, god awful tips
Yeah.
that, like, if you step away, they don't make sense. Like, they really
No.
don't.
Didn't you see a post one time that literally said, intimacy and sex was a waste of time?
I did. I literally
Yeah.
saw a post where it was like, I don't know, top 10 time wasters, and sex was on there.
My god.
Oh my god, you know what? If anything, people need more sex, okay?
Yeah.
Bringing it back to the physical world, people. Get away from the animation and the metaverse, touch people with consent.
Yeah. Well, Laura, if you wanna get rich, you shouldn't be having sex.
Apparently not. Apparently I'm wasting
Yeah.
time.
You should be hustling.
Right? I mean, another post I saw where it was just like, "Oh, don't bash the 9 to 5 because you have from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. to side hustle."
Oh my
And
god.
I was just like, "So we don't sleep anymore. We just don't sleep. We don't
Yeah.
we don't have sex, we don't sleep. Soon we're not gonna eat because that's a waste of time too. And,
Yeah.
oh, whoops, now we only live in the metaverse because, like, our physical bodies can no longer sustain us."
Mhm. And you also have to have a net worth of $5 million to be considered middle class, otherwise you are poor, according to the
Oh my
posts.
god. Can I share that with our listeners here real quick?
You know what? Just throw it up there
Okay,
because this
okay.
this is what spurred the rant today, so
Oh my god, it got us freaking going.
it
Okay.
did.
So this is I'm gonna point out this Instagram channel because this is where I literally follow them because their advice is so ridiculous. It's called,
Mhm.
Financial Simplified,
Yep.
and it's just one of those, like, classic, like, "Oh, this is how you become a macho millionaire and billionaire." Okay, so this is wealth levels. You are poor if you have less than $500,000. You're middle.
Okay.
So we're all poor. We're
Alright.
gonna God, we're just poor. Um, Middle class is $500,000 to 2,000,000. Upper middle, 2,000,000 to 4,000,000.
Mhm.
Comfortable, 4,000,000 to 10,000,000.
I just don't understand why comfortable comes after upper middle class.
I know. Well, you know what? They're always saying, like, "Hey, middle class is no more." So I guess now for the middle class to be comfortable, you have to have over $4,000,000.
Mhm.
Wealthy is 10 to 30,000,000. Comfortably rich,
Oh
eight
boy.
80,000,000 to 150,000,000.
Oh,
Yes. Truly rich,
truly.
400 truly rich.
That's the
So it's like now you're
distinction.
finally rich. Truly rich is 400,000,000 to 800,000,000,
Oh my god.
and super rich is 2,000,000,000 plus.
Okay.
So let's all just take 5 to cry for a
Yeah.
moment because most of us are probably not even, let's see, how did they describe that? Oh, comfortable
Yeah.
with our
See,
5.
my issue with this specifically is like, you know what? Like everyone has their own views on income levels and what category that puts you in. It's fine. But if you continue to scroll through that page, is there any actual valuable information about how to get there beyond you should work 24/7?
No.
And it's not like there's even advice on what you should be doing or, how to start a business.
Oh, no, you're just supposed to have a business, have a
Mhm.
side hustle, and don't eat, don't sleep, and don't have sex. That's
Yeah.
literally, and then that's just it's like, this just gets you there. And,
Mhm.
oh, I also found a list of how you improve, which I feel like
Oh.
could be a whole episode on itself, but let me just pull a few things from here. Um, oh, so you're supposed to learn a new skill,
Mhm.
start a new routine, plan a new strategy. What that strategy is for, I don't know what that strategy is.
Okay.
Um, don't make excuses, no procrastination. Focus on the positive, though. Also, learn a new language. Question your
Okay.
purpose in life.
Oh.
Oh, don't compare yourself, though. Yeah,
Oh.
and you should acknowledge your flaws.
Oh.
And let's see. Oh, change your social circle because your friends are no longer good enough. Oh, but you need to follow an exercise routine, make a
Oh,
business bucket list, be
oh,
more organized, and then watch educational videos and side hustle. And I'm sorry, those were just a few
I
of 36 ways to improve yourself.
I don't have that much time.
No, who was and like God, no wonder we are burnt out
Mhm.
because people are putting out on social media that this is what they do all in a day. But I'm sorry. No one is taking a language class, working a 9 to 5. They have their own business, they have a side hustle, and they're maintaining their relationships plus a great workout team where they have a six pack.
No.
Sorry, that doesn't happen. That's just not real at all. But time and
Mhm.
time again, I only come across these like self help Instagram accounts. And that's what they're putting out there of like, this is what success looks like. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, no, because that's just unattainable
Mhm.
unless you're like a sociopath or something. Like, I don't know, but it doesn't actually offer advice. It's just like, this is what you should strive for. Do we tell you how to get it? No, you have to figure that out yourself.
Yeah, and, like, I could completely go off on, just hustle culture and that whole, like, you know, the debate of whether, you need to work hard to get to a good income standpoint, and I don't get me wrong, you need to work hard, but I don't agree with having to work 24/7 to do so, but it feels like it's not inspiring.
No.
It is scary, and it makes you feel horrible about yourself, which in turn is the intention is in turn it feels like to spur you to go do those things, but it's just paralyzing instead.
Yeah, and the scary thing is, and I think some people can relate to this, and we're actually going to do a full episode on the dangers of hustle culture.
Yeah.
But a mere 4 or 5 years ago, I looked towards accounts like this
Yeah.
that would show me how to be, financially successful.
Mhm.
And I was honestly chasing the next thing and wondering why I wasn't happy,
Yeah.
why I never had time for my personal relationships.
Mhm.
And I felt like a failure because I'm just like, I feel like I have nothing to show for it. Yet I'm doing everything that these supposed self help accounts are
Are
telling me to
telling me.
do.
Yeah. And then like kind of in this similar vein, another thing that I've been seeing going around a lot is unbacked claims of
Hmm.
income levels. Where
Yes.
they're like it's like, "Oh, you're so silly for working a 9 to 5. If you didn't, you could be making $75,000 a month." And it's just like, "Okay, it's an online business, which is if that's what you're making, all the power to you." But it's just like, "Okay, but you don't tell us how.
Hmm.
You don't say what's the first step. You don't show the work behind how you got there because
No, no, they never.
maybe you were an overnight success, but
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah. Like
everyone.
someone could just gotten lucky, but most people, it takes years and years
Yeah.
of grinding and sacrifice to get to that level. Which,
Mhm.
if that's what they're passionate and want to do, I mean, by all means, do it.
Yeah,
But
and, like
so many of these accounts are just like, "Oh, I did this and, like, the next month I was making $70,000."
yeah, it's I quit my 9 to 5 and now I'm a billionaire,
Mhm.
and it's just like, okay, I totally respect that, but what I would find more inspiring, and maybe this is just something about stop putting out the illusion and have more transparency, is if you're sharing that much of your life and you want to help people as you say you are as opposed to brag, then, like, maybe show what your business model was. Like, you don't
Mhm.
have to
Yeah,
give
show
the
your business
exact.
model. Be a
Yeah, or
leader and be a teacher.
yeah, and then I would respect it, but just the unbacked claims that are meant to make you feel bad
Mhm.
about whichever path you've chosen, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
That's a big con. So, yeah, I like how we were like, it's the pros and cons of social media. And we're like, okay, so there's a little tiny pro here, but
There's a whole lot of
it's
con.
it's like it sucks for these reasons.
Yes, it
And then
does.
we proceed to list like 50 reasons why this one point sucks.
Exactly. Um, So, yeah, this is kind of like another social commentary episode where, we don't really have some concrete things, but I think what we can do, because it's very
Yes.
personal, I don't think us individually, I don't think we're going to be like changing the social media landscape, but there
No.
are things that we can do to protect ourselves. And really, at the end of the day, that's all we can do.
Yep.
And you have to look out for yourself. So, I'd love to just share some of those boundaries that we can all kind of keep in the back of our mind
Mhm.
when we start feeling overwhelmed and feel like social media is running our lives.
Go for it.
All right. So, spending only an hour and a half on social media a day. Now, hour and a half might be too much for you, might be not
Mhm.
enough. I think you have to do something that is gradual and makes sense for you. Like if you're someone who's
Mhm.
spending currently 8 hours a day, it's gonna be really hard for you to go like cold turkey or like down to an hour.
Yeah.
One thing that helps is on most phones, you can actually set like a timer for
Yep.
your social media, and then like once that time has been hit, it locks you out of your social media for the rest of the day. So, like, that's kind of like the tough love solution.
And don't click the snooze button.
Oh, I'm so bad for doing that. Snooze for
I do it
15
every
minutes,
time.
snooze for 15 minutes. And then I'm like, I should just snooze it for the day.
Yeah.
Next, this one I really need to work on is don't use your phone in bed.
I'm so bad at that.
Yes.
It's golden advice, but I am not there yet.
Yeah, like I'm notorious for throwing a YouTube video on, and okay, I personally I exclude YouTube a little bit from the social media world. I kind of
Yeah.
like consider it different media, but yet it still is time on our phones and
Mhm.
not interacting with people. Next is unfollow people who make you feel less about yourself or someone else. And this is something I try and do. I had to do this a lot, like especially when I was like in my early 20s because I followed more
Mhm.
influencers.
Mhm.
But every once in a while, like I will go through all of the people I'm following and like unfollow people like I don't even know who they are anymore, or I really just don't like their content because I don't think it's good for me.
Yep.
Because like maybe they're like super tanned with like really toned body, and I'm just like, I'm never gonna be that.
Mhm.
Um, I don't need to look at that kind of stuff. Like, why throw that in my face every day?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's another thing.
And kind of jumping off of that too, even if you're not following them, so kind of referencing those financial posts,
Hmm.
um, something that you can do because how that explore page kind of works is the more time you spend looking at it, then that's you get more of those posts.
Yes,
I get a lot of Taylor Swift content.
me too. Taylor Swift and cats and horses. That's like the only thing on my search page.
I know. So, something that you can do is basically like hide or say you're not interested
Hmm.
with those posts and then they're going to trickle through but like eventually you'll stop seeing them and it will kind of be phased out of your explore page. So that's a good idea as well in
Yes.
the case that you don't follow them. So,
Yes. And okay, so next tip is block anyone who posts harmful content. So this kind of is like on the
yes.
same realm of like something that makes you feel bad about yourself. But if it's like, let's put this more on the lens of like personal finance advice, business advice, and like maybe political views, because that is stuff that literally could harm your finances, or you really don't believe in it. So definitely don't engage.
Mhm.
Next is post only things that bring you joy.
All
So,
right.
Rachel, you got your little bunny there.
I do.
You could just
I
post
do.
happy pictures of his little life every day because
That
it's
sounds like
bringing
a
you joy,
genius idea. That
right? Maybe
sounds
he should
great.
start his own Instagram account.
He would get so many followers. Oh my god.
Probably.
So cute.
Yeah. And I think this one we can also throw it towards, posting the real you,
Mhm.
not feeling like you need to put like those crazy filters on yourself.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't think we should be doing that. As fun as they are to play around with, I certainly get like a complex about myself
Mhm.
when I'm, like, putting the filter on and off. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Wow, maybe I'm not that pretty in real life," you know?
Mhm.
Um, this filter really tells me otherwise, like, I'm, like, kind of a gargoyle. Um,
You're just like, "Wait, am I
yeah, like, it just
unattractive?"
it's just an instant complex.
Yeah.
So, I think we should just avoid that kinda stuff.
Mhm.
Next thing I am also terrible for is, looking at your phone first thing in the morning.
Oh, I do that every day.
I'm terrible for it, and, like, I don't even use my phone as an alarm clock, so really, I have no excuse for it being right beside my bed charging all
Mhm.
night, like, really, I should put it in my office, but I don't know, I always have this weird thing, I'm like, "What if someone needs to contact me?" Like, I'm
Yeah.
asleep, I hear nothing when I sleep, so I should at least, like, plug it in maybe on the other side of the room
Mhm.
where if I needed it, it's there, but I can't, like, roll over and grab it. And ooh, the last one is a good one because I think this goes back to us being like, when we were talking about like, don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution.
Mhm.
And that is not writing anything that you wouldn't say to someone's face.
Mhm.
So that goes out to anyone who feels like they need to troll people because we shouldn't be spreading hate, spread the love. So, yeah, I just want to give a shout out to where I got these social media boundary tips from. And it's from the Instagram account Mindful Soul Collective.
Mhm.
And the creator on there is Sharina, and she is a counselor and a coach for self development, mental health, mindset, business, and parenting. And definitely go follow her because she just like really posts these beautiful quotes that just make you kind of stop and think. And yeah, definitely check her out because one of her other quotes are, "You don't need to become someone else. You're already a masterpiece."
Aw.
And I feel like that really sums up today's episode.
Yes, it does. Shall we leave it there?
I think so. Listeners, have a good day, evening, whenever you are listening to this. And we will see
DM
you.
us on Instagram.
Yes, oh my God. So now that we've bitched about Instagram, go check out our Instagram. One thing, Rachel, we were thinking of doing. So this episode is
Mhm.
likely airing on November 23rd.
Yep.
And we were both discussing going on a social media detox, which would include
Yes.
like TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And really, what we're doing is like we just delete them off of our phone.
Yep.
So if anyone wants to join us on that, like, okay, obviously we might be like posting on our podcast Instagram account just to like update
Keep
people
it
on
going.
episodes, but like we won't be scrolling because that I think for you and I, that's our main problem is like
Yeah.
we get on the explore page and that's where we spend like hours and hours wasting time.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if anyone wants to join us on that, like how long should we do it for, Rachel?
Uh, Maybe for a month?
Okay.
Kinda end, like, right before Christmas?
Yeah, that sounds good. So you
Yeah.
and I will do it for a month. People are welcome to join us. If you would like, we won't like post obviously about progress on the Instagram
Yes.
account. But we will talk about our progress maybe at the end of each episode
Yep.
leading up towards the holidays. And yeah, I'm totally down if you are. We hope people will join us and we're going to focus more on just like talking to our friends and family in a more intimate way, in a more personal
Mhm.
way. That's the goal with
That
that.
is the goal.
Yes. And one thing I am going to do on my phone, I have like my little ebook library app is instead of like when I reach for my phone to open up Instagram, I'm going to try like open it my book instead.
Yeah.
And maybe I
That's
can
a
get
good
lots.
idea.
Yeah. Cause I know like when I've done these challenges before where I've deleted Instagram, I'll, like, read the news app a lot because I always feel like I just need to read something on my phone.
Mhm.
So I'm at least gonna go with a book. Might as well educate myself or, like, read for pleasure.
Or just read the Bridgerton series.
That might be what I'm reading right now. I am on the 2nd book right now.
Alright.
Yep, The Viscount Who Loved Me. It's going well.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it. Well, I guess we should leave it there.
I think so. Alright, everyone. Live like tea.
Live like tea.